Welcome to episode 99 of Nobody Special. On this episode, I talk about NHL mascots assaulting people and proclaiming the gospel of Christ. The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, two nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the host of Nobody Special, and this is a podcast where two generations of people find God in pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously. It is, in general, two generations, but today, Caleb is out, we'll say, attacked by bears. We're going to go with that, and he'll be fine. He's going to make a speedy recovery, and that none of that is real. But this is Andrew, everyone. Hi, Andrew.
Hello, folks.
Thank you for joining us today. Andrew, tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you work? How do I know you? Who are you?
Absolutely. Well, as Caleb fell victim to the bears.
Bears.
Big
ones.
Daniel.
Polar bears, actually. Really weird.
The most violent bear.
Are they?
Yes.
But they have those Cokes.
You're right.
They want to buy the world a Coke and
You're right.
eat the seal. Sorry, did you see I don't know, we'll get back to you in a second. Did you see the picture of the polar bear eating the seal?
No?
Oh, it changes all the Coke commercials, my dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because he's just like
a can of Coke.
covered in Coke red.
Coke. Yeah.
But it's not Coke.
This got really dark really fast.
It's seal. I know.
Sorry, Caleb.
Yeah, this is what you get for being out of town. So
my name is Andrew Steier.
Hi.
I am the youth pastor of Switzerland Community Church.
Congrats, by the way.
Yep.
A new formed pastor.
Yes, new formed pastor, ordained last month.
So
I'm not sure, but I think that makes me your boss.
Yeah, I've thought that from the beginning. Like that's totally fine.
It's not true at all.
Well, true.
It's not true.
But
I'm happy to be here, happy to help out, happy to fill in.
Now, Andrew, we've been kind of talking beforehand about the podcast, and I was convinced that this is the one before the Super Bowl.
And I came prepped with a lot of Super Bowl takes, information, statistics.
Wait, did you really?
A little bit.
Okay, so I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl. So who's playing in the Super Bowl?
It's the Green Bay Mermen.
Okay, I know that's not true, but
you don't really know that's not true.
I can't confirm that's not true. I have an inkling that that might not be true.
And the Detroit Hollanders.
Is it Detroit though? There's no way it's Detroit. I know that about football.
They're in the same conference division. We're past it now though.
Right.
So.
But it's not Detroit.
It's not Detroit.
The Detroit Lions stink
very bad.
Really bad.
Yes, always have, always will.
Yeah, they had the perfect season, but in
the wrong direction.
In the wrong direction. Yeah.
Yes.
So I hope they'll be good one day, but
I'm sure they will.
I've been excited because for me the best part of the Super Bowl is the commercials and just other sports things and I actually did prep a ton of sports stuff to talk about to start off.
Okay.
At the beginning, I found an article that I was cracking up so hard of NHL a mascot Gritty is being sued for punching a 13-year-old child.
Is it weird that my first reaction is I'm a youth pastor and I understand how he feels?
I mean, like, because that's the same thing I did and everyone on Twitter did. Do you know who Gritty is?
I don't know who Gritty is. I don't follow NHL. Even being from North Dakota, I don't follow hockey very much. It's like soccer on ice. It's kind of boring.
NHL mascot Gritty, and I'm going to put this picture up.
That is not okay.
He definitely did it. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to profile anyone, based on their appearance.
Gritty, man.
But this guy did it, straight up. So
if anyone's gonna punch a 13-year-old, it's gonna be Gritty.
It's gonna be him or that baseball green thing that everyone loves.
The Houston Astros.
Yeah. The most sued mascot in history because he's multiple lawsuits.
It's just Green Birdo. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
No one likes Birdo anyway. So.
But this guy, I mean, the more I look at this guy's face, it's troubling. But his character is kind of a bully. Now, I did go through the whole article beyond the headline because I'm just going to be honest here. The headline, flippin' hilarious. NHL mascot Gritty is under police investigation following allegations of physical assault. It's funny. I'm sorry. It's funny. It's not appropriate, but it's funny. Because the whole time they're talking about it as Gritty, not the man inside the clearly
right.
Like, this is a mascot. So the kid, though, had gone in. It was a photo meet and greet thing, so they paid extra for this. And he was like patting him on the head, and I think
he just patted him too hard on the head.
I'm not sure, because then after the kid gets up to go, Gritty just like charges him from the back and actually punches him in the back. And kid goes to the doctor. There's contusions. I mean, they say contusions. Contusions is just a big word for a bruise.
Yeah.
But either way, it's not something you would expect the NHL mascot to deliver to a 13-year-old boy.
I just wonder what kind of things could be said to Gritty. Now, granted, bullies are formed. Bullies are not born. Bullies are formed. And Gritty
was formed of foam.
As you've seen, cannot have had the best adolescence if he looks like this as a grown man.
This is all
man? Grown
Muppet.
That is a very good way to say that. Yeah.
Muppet.
It's terrifying.
It doesn't get like better.
It looks like a dinosaur animatronic that you would find malfunctioning in a Chuck E. Cheese.
Oof, that's good.
Right?
I was kind of thinking this is a person that has definitely been intoxicated and said, "What do you mean I can't park here?" And doesn't even own a car, like that kind. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they praying in that picture?
No, I think they're in that picture. I think they're helping him on or off the ice. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of Philly has gotten behind Gritty.
That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, man.
Philadelphia does some crazy things when sports are on the line.
Right. And they're all behind Gritty. Twitter has some comments that I would have really enjoyed to read on this podcast, and I can't. Thank you, Philadelphia. I mean, for some of the hardest laughs at the most inappropriate thing I've ever seen.
Philadelphia won the Super Bowl and decided to celebrate by burning their own vehicles.
Win or lose, we're torching this place to the ground.
Okay. Okay, so that's not the sport I expected to talk about today.
No, but I saw it and I was like, well, we can't not talk about it. I don't know. No, it was I was kind of yeah. Oh yeah, they even have the picture up. I'll put that one up as well. It's just odd to think everything is fine there, and then at some point
he's not looking at the camera.
He's
looking at the child. This is premeditated punching.
Again. We're not advocating the beating of a 13-year-old.
This 13-year-old.
We don't know. No, they tried to check into the situation that happened, but Gritty, for all of his violent tendencies, is at least smart because all the cameras were focused on where the photo shoot was taking place. So there's actually no evidence that they did this. So the PR person from the Philadelphia Flyers, they had to put out a statement that said, like, unfortunately at this time our investigation has concluded no evidence to corroborate the story.
There was no orange hair covering the boy's jacket?
No.
He doesn't look like a well-kept Muppet.
Yeah, right. This is a Muppet who hits the whiskey too early in the morning.
I can't stop looking at it, honestly.
I know. What'd you say? What, looking at me? I don't know. To me, and I've done this as a former youth pastor, and you've probably done this as a current youth pastor.
Punched a kid?
No.
Okay.
You kind of start a thing thinking, oh, this will be funny. And then it's just not, and you keep going because you're convinced that you can make it funny, or that at some point it's going to turn and it's going to be funny, and it's just not.
Maybe like this Gritty segment on your podcast.
No, this is hilarious.
This is funny. Okay.
This is great. I'm all right with this, but I know I've started a joke. I said a thing, came off as a joke as a youth pastor, and it didn't get funny. Actually, can I tell this one? I think I can tell this one. Go ahead. As a joke, I'd gone up to a kid and I didn't know anything. I said, like, hey man, I found out and I'm just pretty disappointed, and if you ever need to talk, I'm here for you, but I did find out. Now, I've done this joke a few times, and this kid immediately, who, to my credit, was way older than he should have been to have fallen for this thing. And I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast because I've never told him. But I say this to him, bawling immediately, not just like crying or sniffles, just like full on breakdown, guilt. It was the last time I did this joke. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. And I'm like, uh-oh, this isn't going to be funny no matter how hard I try. I can't stop and say like, just kidding. Like,
I'm actually not here for you.
Like we've gone too deep. So I'm trying to like, I now have to counsel a kid where I was not prepared to do so. And also I have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm like, all right, just tell me how it happened. Walk me through the steps. And I thought that was a great question. And he goes, I'm just so ashamed. I don't think I can. I'm like, oh, dang it. All right. Well, where do you think it went wrong? Like, I have no idea what this is. Probably towards the end. I'm like, yeah, all right. That's fair enough. That's a fair. Okay. What would you do better next time? I just wouldn't do it. I'm never going to do it again. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, you know? So I never got there, and I prayed with him, probably the most general prayer I've ever prayed in my life. Like, dear Lord, you know our hearts, which isn't wrong. What I was doing was wrong, but I wouldn't say, yeah.
I mean, you really just got to hand that one to the big guy. You had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, shot in the dark, and I thought it was a joke, and I've never done that joke again.
Oof, that's probably good. That's wisdom.
Yeah, man, I learned.
You grew that day.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing that ever happened.
Yeah,
I felt so bad. I've never told him. I don't think he listens to this podcast. I will never tell him.
There are a few things that you never tell.
Uh-huh.
You never tell a student that go on in the
Right.
behind the scenes. I have a few stories that I will not share.
Uh-huh. Anyway, so Philadelphia Flyers, I'm thinking he probably just he thought it'd be funny to just kind of tap this kid in the back, and then he did it a little too hard because the kid was tapping him on the head. He just thought, I'll just like give him a love tap on the back, and I think due to being in a foam suit for hours at a time, he probably underestimated the amount of strength or something happened.
That's a really nice take on that. Like, that's a super gracious take on that.
Yeah.
That is not where I went with that.
Where did you go with it? I'm going to mess up this kid. Welcome to Philly. Like,
no, I mean, he's a 13-year-old boy. 13-year-old boys are trolls. He probably said something under his breath, and Gritty, having a reputation to protect of one, being from Philadelphia, and two, literally being named Gritty.
Yep.
And being a hockey mascot,
right,
decided to take it upon himself to exact some kind of vigilante justice on this young man.
So your theory is Gritty was like, what'd you say about my mom? Like
a little bit.
Like
Gritta.
Grittat.
No? Is that not it? She comes out, she's got curlers and all of her fur.
This is going to be the longest time I spend in Photoshop for this episode.
You're going to yes.
Oh, no.
I fully expect a Gritta.
So anyway, I'm curious to see how this ends.
Okay.
Twitter has been absolutely amazing. And a little bit too protective of someone who assaulted a child. But like,
does he have a voice? Does Gritty have a voice?
No.
So there's going to be like no statement read by Gritty to all the cameras?
No. PR people are handling this because now attorneys are involved. Like it's a big deal at this point. Okay. They are pressing charges against the NHL basically. Yeah. Well, no, not the mascot.
The man inside?
No, because they deeper pockets.
It's getting too real.
That man inside probably only made like $40,000 a year. They ain't getting.
It's getting too real.
Yeah. So, because medical costs and all that, but then
of course the bruise.
Yeah, but then also, for Super Bowl commercials, they've started to kind of details of that have started to come out, and my favorite is probably that Mr. Peanut died. They killed Mr. Peanut.
Who killed Mr. Peanut?
Don't take my joke. I wrote that.
Never mind. Mr. Peanut died?
And I think Gritty did it. No, so like it's
How long did you spend on that?
like way too long.
Like just sitting at home, just like
oh yes, okay. No, so Mr. Peanut, he's in like this car accident with two comedians, and they get ejected from the car. They're on a cliff. They're hanging
Like a
onto
spy
this
plane?
branch. No. As in through the windshield.
Okay.
It's super horrifying. They go through the windshield and they're hanging onto this branch, and the two comedians are trying to figure out who's gonna let go to fall down the cliff. And Mr. Peanut goes, "It's okay, I got this." And Mr. Peanut falls in the cliff, and they're like, maybe he's okay. And then the car explodes, and Mr. Peanut is dead.
I'm sorry. He falls off the cliff.
And then grabs a branch on the way down. All three of them do.
No. So he lets go. Mr. Peanut lets go.
Yeah.
And is essentially falls to his death.
Yes.
Okay. And then the car explodes.
In case he made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
Yeah.
He's now peanut butter.
Yeah. So Gritty cut the brake lines. I don't want to accuse anyone of anything, but I just did. No, it's the weirdest thing. They killed Mr. Peanut, and they're gonna make a statement during the third quarter of the Super Bowl regarding the death of Mr. Peanut. And I don't know what to do with that mentally.
I think
because the monocle and the top hat, and when he dropped, it went whoop, and the hat and the monocle stayed for a little bit. And I was like, it'd be funny if he weren't like falling to his death, you know.
So you remember that it was a few years ago in the Super Bowl, and even the Super Bowl commercials that start off serious typically end up light.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A couple of years ago in the commercial, it was I want to say it was a nationwide insurance commercial.
Right.
It was right in the middle of the Super Bowl, and it showed all of these things like a TV that had fallen over, a bathtub that had overflowed. Do you remember this?
No, I don't.
And you get to the end of the commercial, and it basically says, here are all the ways your children could die. You want insurance. And see, like
now have a Snickers.
In the middle of the Super Bowl silly commercials.
Yeah.
And I remember the outrage just being like,
right.
No, we were all ready for the punchline.
Right.
Didn't come.
Right.
Didn't come.
The punchline is your children are dead and you're not insured. Anyway, back to your sports ball game.
That really matters.
I hope you're happy with yourself.
Green Bay Mermen.
I'm going to beat the Detroit Unicorns or whatever you said.
It was Hollanders. I'm not sure why I landed on
Hollanders.
Hollanders.
What's as in people from Holland?
Yes.
Oh. All right. The Detroit people from Holland.
Which seems weird because it's essentially it's like
all
saying
7 of them. Like
the Detroit Brazilians.
Right. So they just like snuck in a depressing commercial?
Oh, yeah. And then
wow.
they like paid for ad time for this commercial that was just horrifying.
Yipes. That's
do better nationwide. And then they went and got Peyton Manning in the years after that. And then Brad Paisley and with a little whistle. But we didn't forget. We didn't forget what you did nationwide.
I'm excited for the commercials. I hope they're not like that one though, because that's
what if they were all like that?
Just like the quarterback comes out, is like, I don't even want to play anymore.
Depression is real.
Yeah.
Call this hotline.
Right. Hey, Patriots didn't make it.
I love that.
Fantastic.
Although, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think most of America is fine with that.
Right. There's only a small section of America that isn't fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm excited to see what happens to Mr. Peanut or who replaces him.
Gosh, the theories. We could just go on this.
This is the only theory I have because he's very top 1%-ish.
Of course.
Because he got the top hat and the monocle because it's the 1920s still. I don't know. I'm just thinking there's going to be, I don't know, it's like Bernie Peanut.
Like a, like a homeless peanut?
Yes, we got to have the 1%. And, like a burning hair. And it's a political year. We're totally doing this. So, yeah. I don't know what that would look like, but I
think we just found out.
I would love it. More time in Photoshop. I don't want this. Okay. So
Mr. Bernie Peanut.
Bernie
Mr. Planters.
Bernie Planters.
Bernie Planters.
Bernie Planters. We did it.
We did it, guys.
Hey, Planters.
You heard it here first.
TM. I don't think we can trademark their thing. I don't think we can do that.
Bernie Planters, though.
Bernie planters. We're gonna get rid of the 1%. So
more salt for everyone. No. We're gonna make the rich shell your peanuts for you.
Wait.
Free. Yeah, I have a terrible Bernie impression. I don't know why I keep doing it.
We should probably talk about Jesus at some point in this podcast. I think both of us need it. That's going to wake me up at 3 a.m. I'm just going to be like, all right, and then go back to bed.
I mean, think of what this means for me. This is my first podcast, and we've spent 20 minutes talking about...
I don't think anyone's upset.
Gritty and Mr. Peanut.
I don't think anyone's upset.
And Bernie Sanders snuck in there.
And Bernie Planters, yes.
He did. He popped out of nowhere.
So Andrew, it's a hard pivot at this point. If you're still tuned in at this point, be sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, the bell, and all that stuff, so we can keep doing this and have more fun. So I know, Andrew, both of us do have a passion towards people under 18 coming to know Christ and all these kinds of things, and also discipling and or those two kinds of processes of growing in faith and then going out and also trying to share that faith.
Absolutely.
So tell me a bit about how that started for you and how that grew and how it came to be the thing that it is.
Yeah, of course. I'm from a ministry family. My family is currently spread all over the world. Growing up, my dad was a pastor. I was labeled my last name is Steier, and my friends affectionately called me the anti-Steier.
Okay.
Because my family loved the Lord so much, you're welcome. You're welcome to use that. But as a teenager, I cared nothing for the Lord. Everything for my appearance of caring for the Lord, but nothing actually for the Lord. I went away to college after graduating high school and just totally dropped out. I mean, I was the statistic. I was the 70 to 80% who just said, finally, I'm done. I don't have to. No one's watching me anymore. Right. I don't have to go to church anymore. Man, this is so great.
Now I'm going to follow my heart.
Right. Yeah. I don't need Jesus. Right. And everyone told me that I did as a teenager. And finally, I get to do what I want to do.
Right.
Which in college is a number of things. And so for me, that meant just not showing up on Sunday mornings, not getting into the Word, none of that. I didn't have to fake it anymore.
Yeah.
And it just was the worst 6 months of my life. I mean, it only lasted 6 months. Like the Lord was like, hey, let's see how long this lasts. And 6 months later, I'm like crying in my dorm room, like begging God to reach out and just not leave me alone anymore.
It's always good if as God has that kind of moment of, hey, you do you, boo-boo. Like, there you go. Let's see how this works out. I'll be right here, you know?
I feel like that's from the Message translation.
Yeah, somewhere in the back.
Sorry, paraphrase.
The GZT.
The GZT. You do you, boo-boo.
You do you, boo-boo.
Anyway, I in that moment, halfway through my freshman year of college, it just hit me. This is the normal teenage experience.
Yeah.
It's normal. It's completely normal that teenagers are just getting annihilated when they leave their nice, safe bubble. And it started my passion for ministry and my desire to see teenagers leave for college equipped and okay.
Right.
Now, in America, that got quickly taken over with you need to be a youth pastor, you need to play games, you need to have fun, you need to provide pizza, you need to go on
dodgeball
ski
for
trips.
the Lord.
All of that.
Yeah. You really take a $5 ball, throw it in their face, and then as they're crying out to God, then
you can get it. Yeah.
I'm bleeding. Well, if you had been praying harder.
You're right.
If you'd been praying harder, Jimmy, you wouldn't have had that. You know?
That's good. Recently, though, the Lord's just been really working, and I know we'll get to this, but the Lord's been really working in my heart to disciple and encourage and build up and train up teenagers to not go away to college and say, I'm free, but go away to college and say, look, a mission field.
Right.
To go away to college and say, look at all these people who are the 70%. Right. I know my God and my Savior, and now I can bring Him and that message of hope to them.
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of my passion as we talk about discipleship.
Well, in people, I think it took me a fair amount of time to get to this conclusion that people tend to take, this is discipleship and this is evangelism. And those two things, you cannot split those two things. If I'm doing one and I'm doing it well, I have to be doing the other. They are connected. I've compared it to breathing. If I just breathe in, if I just do discipleship, I'm going to die. Because I have to breathe out at some point.
Of course.
And if I'm just going and doing evangelism, I'm going to die because I have to breathe in at some point. I have to be doing both in fluid rhythm together. I mean, it tells us in Romans 10 that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then will they call on him who have not believed, and how are they to believe in him who they have not heard, and how are they to hear without someone preaching, and how are they to preach unless they are sent? And that's kind of this idea of all these things have to play in together, that a person grows, and in their growth they express it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense one or the other. You use breathing.
Yeah.
And how you would die. Also, it's unnatural to just breathe in.
Right.
It's uncomfortable.
Right.
It's unhelpful.
Right. The body hates that.
The body hates that. It has to lead to the other.
Right.
It's necessary to have one and the other. It's not just good to have them both. It's necessary. If you're going to breathe, you have to do them both.
Right.
And we've done a really good job in the church of saying, oh, I'm sorry, evangelism is not my gift.
Right.
Oh man, I have said that so many times.
Right.
Because taking believing students and really equipping them with the necessary tools to go evangelize has been my passion. I say, oh yeah, that's discipleship. That's not actually evangelism. Whoa. That's not true at all, right? And then you got your people that are like, oh, I'm just an evangelist. I just go out on the street and I just go tell people about Jesus.
But I don't know anything.
And full stop.
Full
stop.
I'm not walking with God. I'm just telling people about him. I mean, that's what they're saying is like, I do a lot of sinning and I'm okay with that, but you shouldn't.
Yeah, and it stops there.
Yeah.
It's like that person says, okay, now what do I do?
Right.
Oh, go find someone to tell you that. Go find someone who actually does discipleship. I only do evangelism.
Right.
And that is so unhealthy. And I think in there is a protection. It's a safety, right? Oh, I don't know enough about the Bible. I guess evangelism is just my thing. Oh, I'm uncomfortable around people. I guess discipleship is just my thing. I only want the smaller numbers. I only want those who are saved. And we use that kind of as a scapegoat to not do one or the other.
Sure. I think it's been kind of connected to the part of just trying to get people to that point of praying that prayer. And that if they pray that prayer, then they're good. The end. And I mean, there's a hint of truth to that. A hint. So before my Calvinist friends hit me too hard for that, just a hint. Because that is their point of being born again. But if I have a child, and I haven't had a child, but I'm in charge of a few, I don't, after they're born, they're not on their own. Like, good. Mission accomplished. Like, no, that's the point that you start raising them up to be an adult and to be able to train others to be an adult after that. But if a person gives birth and goes, wow, I've completed parenting, then we're going to call the police on you. I mean, like, that's bad parenting. That's horrible parenting.
It's like gritty level parenting.
That's punch a 13-year-old in the back parenting. So I think that's been this idea that's permeated throughout the culture of I get people to pray a prayer and then I'm done. And in actuality, even the Great Commission doesn't actually speak to that. The thrust of the Great Commission is make disciples. And granted, the other parts are, they are commands, but they're in the Greek just kind of a stupid thing that I enjoy. Those are participles, as in, and going, make disciples, baptizing. It's all things that, granted, they are heavy, implying you should be doing these things. You should be going, you should be baptizing, you should be doing all these things, you should be doing this. But the main thrust as the imperative is make disciples and to actually spend time training and building up to send people out, because there's exponential growth that comes from that.
I think that what we do in church, in children's and youth ministry, is our measure of success is skewed.
Yeah.
Our measure of success is how many kids prayed a prayer. There was a time
or how many kids raised their hand and said they prayed a prayer.
Exactly. Check the box.
Hey, did you pray a prayer? Sure. I get a Tootsie Roll if I say yes. Right.
Of course.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So
Candy kid.
In my ministry, early in my ministry, it would be like, okay, let's build the night around that moment.
Yeah.
Right. Let's build the night around. Here's a call to follow after Jesus. Who raises their hand?
Right.
And then after they raise their hand, go and pray with them. There are many students that I prayed a prayer with who went on to completely reject the Christian walk.
Yeah.
But now they have this assurance because they did this thing.
Yeah.
That they're all good. They're all good. They're going to heaven. There's no fruit. There's no growth. There's nothing.
It's a get out of hell free card.
Of course it is.
It's like, do not pass go.
And that's not seen anywhere in the Bible. That's not seen anywhere in the Bible.
No.
Right? Like Jesus' model of discipleship wasn't going up to the disciples and saying, hey, follow me. And then they're like, I'll follow you. And then he's like, okay, go, great.
I see that hand, Mark. Right. I see that hand, John.
I see that hand.
I see that hand.
You know, but then he doesn't say, all right, great, now go back to fishing. Right?
Yeah.
Now go back to collecting taxes.
Yeah.
Now go back to your zealotry.
Right.
Go back to your essentially terrorism.
Which is terrorism. Like people don't understand that one.
Right?
Terrorism. That's terrorism.
Yeah.
They believed it so strongly they would kill you. Like
he doesn't do that. He's like, okay, now walk with me each and every day.
Yeah.
And that's the discipleship that follows the evangelism that leads to more evangelism. The men he discipled evangelized.
Right.
I mean, it is, and I don't know why we rip those two apart.
Yeah, I think it comes out of they come off as fundamentally different process or kind of skills that a teaching and training is different. And even going to the fivefold kind of ministry of apostles, prophets, priests, teachers, apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, evangelists. Yes, I always forget one. It's usually pastor too, which is really funny. Yeah. But it does tend to be teaching against evangelism, and those aren't in competition and can't be, because then the whole body of Christ idea is just gone. They have to build off of each other, even if it's different skill sets.
And I think it has a lot to do with who is supplying the power to do these things.
Right.
Because
that'd be the apostle side.
Many times the evangelist is the charismatic, gregarious person who will go out there and, hey, can I tell you about Jesus and those kind of things? Oh, no, not me. I'm a discipler. I'm the scholarly, quiet, right? And in both of those things, you rip God out of the equation.
Right.
You totally do. And it's not a spirit who equips the believer
to
do the Great Commission.
Right.
All of a sudden it has become, well, God made me this way, and it's my power that I take out here to go and do the Great Commission. And God, I'll bring you my results.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to include you in the process or invite your spirit to do the actual work.
Sure. And on the other end of that, the actual kind of teaching academic kind of end of it, I think the academic is important, but there are components that it just doesn't have because they're not trying to have that. There's a practicality to the academic end that just isn't there. That it has to go like, okay, if I've studied this thing, how do I express this in a day-to-day understanding that gives God glory and draws people towards him? And a fair amount of academics just don't have that. It's good stuff. It's good to get into that. And I think overall, by doing those things, it does push people to go deeper. But the span of impact and change is about a decade. And that can be problematic, and to be honest, can put up barriers of entry to Christianity that aren't great. I mean, I was trying to find a few books to give to a few people that are like going into college and that kind of stuff. And it tends to be kind of either heavy academic books, and I enjoy those personally, but I'm not going to hand them out and say like, oh, this is how in the gospel that functions as a scribe and a teacher. So this is a great book, but also I'm not going to hand that to someone going off to college. They have no idea and don't have an understanding to build that off of. But then the only other thing is swung in the other direction of here's 7 tips for a good financial stability. Yeah. It's like that. I mean, they're not incorrect, but that's like there's so many barriers to entry that it comes off as if a person has to go to seminary in order to be a Christian.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to seminary. You don't have to go to Bible college. I have discouraged both of those at some point. Some people need to go, some people don't, and that's how I feel about that one. But the academic end can create barriers to entry that I don't think are always 100% healthy.
Barriers to entry, but if it's avoided, it robs of the beauty, right?
Right.
So like I'll read a book now that if I read it when I was early on in my Christian walk, I would be like, oh, this, I don't like this.
I'm out.
But now that I have a deeper understanding and a relationship with God, I read that and I'm like, wow, right? Like, how amazing is this doctrine? How amazing is this cross-reference or whatever it is, the root of this word, that now that I've been walking with the Lord in my spiritual maturity, I can now appreciate in a way that I wouldn't originally.
Absolutely.
And your
it's
analogy,
that gap between them though.
Right.
It's really terrible. It's like, here's how to live your best life now. That's fine. And these are the academic understanding of the exegetical context of Romans 12. And I swear I saw like a 600-page commentary on Romans 12 at some point.
I think your analogy of the baby is really good, right? Like when you become a believer, and even the Bible talks about spiritual milk and spiritual meat, right?
Yeah.
So when you become a believer, and I do have kids, 4 and 6, and so you don't leave them to themselves.
No.
What you do is you identify what they need at that stage.
Right.
I just told somebody the other day, he's a young man who's saying, I want to grow more, and my 1 verse a day isn't doing it. And I said, well, that's because you're not a child anymore.
Right.
You're not a baby anymore. You don't need this milk. To identify where a believer is, and then to give them what is appropriate for them. And you said that middle stage is awkward. I don't think that it's crazy to say that the teenage years are a really good indicator of that in our spiritual walk, right? This middle section where it's like, oh, I want that. No, I want that. No, I want that. No, I want that. And this very passionate, zealous kind of attitude that can happen before you've learned meekness and humility, but you've started adding in doctrine, right? We get a little cage stage, right? Need to kind of back people off of that.
Every pastor wishes he was as smart as every first-year Bible college student thinks they are.
Of course.
Yeah. Like, no, I took a class. Like, all right. Shh, I've taken a few. Calm down. There you go.
Yeah.
I did have some. Sorry, this is off topic. I did have someone pull that on me once, and I just stared at them. I just stared at them and said, like, "Do you really want to do this?" And they're like, "Oh no, I don't." I'm like, "Do you really want to do this?" I've been kind in this debate. Like, I've been really kind. Do you want me to get into it? Okay, here we go. No, you're good. Like, I don't know. That one just irks me. Anyway. Yeah. Off topic. Continue. Sorry.
Well, I mean, that's just that is, a person taking in inappropriate material from where they are in their spiritual walk. I'm not going to give my kid a steak on his first birthday. Right. It's going to hurt him. Right. He's not going to be able to digest it. It's going to hurt him. Yeah. And then walking around telling all the other 1-year-olds, hey, you need a steak. You need a steak. You need a steak. I had steak. I'm so great because this thing. No, you did something that was harmful for you, and now you're perpetuating that among everyone else. Right. But I'm also not gonna tell my wife that she needs more than just milk. Right. That is also harmful for her. Those.
All right, this is a gross analogy.
Good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's where we are. Headspace is weird today. There's a documentary about this mother who was still breastfeeding her children at the age of 9. And nobody chooses to turn on this documentary. It just, you're flipping through channels and then it's on and you spend the whole time going like, I
can't look away.
Why is it happening? Is this really happening? Is this real? Is this comedy? It's not comedy. Why is this on? I can't change it. Where's the remote?
Man, that's like,
someone find the remote.
That's fourth grade.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. It's strange. And they asked, do you ever have friends over? And the kids are like, oh no. Like, super dumb because everyone thinks it's weird. And I'm like, because it is weird. But that's weird. That'd be the same thing in our spiritual end. If I've been a Christian for like 2 decades and I have, I do a verse a day. Like, No, that's breastfeeding at age 10. I mean, at some point you got to
being breastfed at age 10.
Yeah, whatever. Still, I can't get it out of my head. But there's a point that you have to be okay going deeper and actually expressing Christianity.
Right. And if that's not there, kind of circling back around to the discipleship and evangelism topic.
Right.
If that's not there, then your Christianity is not one that is desiring to follow after the Great Commission.
No.
It isn't.
No.
Right?
If you're the fourth grader's house, you're not going to.
Right. If you are verse a day, if you are okay, I'm doing the same thing that I have always, then I think that it's safe to say that there's a lack of spirit. What do you want from me?
Right.
God, where do you want me to go? Because always it will lead back to evangelize, disciple. Evangelize, disciple. That is your rhythm for the rest of your life. I sometimes ask students, I say, why doesn't God just zap us into heaven when we become a believer?
Yeah.
Right? You made it. Cool. Now you're here with me because he has something for you to accomplish. Right? Like now he actually gave you a mission.
Right.
So many people are like, well, no, I'm just here to live the rest of my life.
Right.
Trying not to make him so mad.
Right. There was a pastor I knew, he brought up the kind of point that if the point is to just get to people at praying that prayer and making that choice, then the nicest thing pastors can do is, as a person is baptized, to just hold them.
Yikes.
Just hold them under.
Yikes.
It's like, nah, we're good. It's not going to get any better. It's only going to give more opportunities to die.
Persecution's coming. You want this.
This
you
is
want
not.
This. Gosh.
You prayed the prayer.
Pastor
and
Gritty.
Just how, Pastor Gritty. and just how horrifying that is, and everyone knows that's horrifying because I think all of us deep down have this calling for something greater than ourselves that can't occur at the point that I'm just giving my heart to Christ. I mean, it's I have everything ahead at that point.
Yeah.
That it's a great thing too, and there's tons of persecution, there's tons of really difficult, hard things, but in Christ all these things become, in a weird way, fun. And that's hard to think about. It's like, I'm being persecuted for Christ. That's awesome. I mean,
I just told a group, we're walking through 1 Peter on Sunday mornings with teenagers, and I told the group of kids, I said, if no one is making fun of you because of your faith, because we're always like, is anyone making fun of you because of your faith? And like one kid is like, me, and everyone's like, oh man, that's so terrible.
Like, is it?
If no one is making fun of you because of your faith, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
If no one can bring a charge against you, you're doing it wrong.
If you look like the non-Christians,
yeah.
Why would they become?
And so it really does become God? That. Like, oh, you really hurt my feelings becomes a joy. Because it's like,
you're right.
Oh, I know that I'm doing what God wants. It's bizarre. Yes. Try explaining Christianity to anyone who doesn't know him, man. It is so bizarre, but it is so confirmed in the life of the believer.
Right. And I think as far as age groups go, I mean, most people, if they commit to Christ, they do so before the age of 18. It's some statistical crazy kind of a number. And to me, that says a few different things. First of all, adults, get on it, get out there. Come on. We got to do better. We definitely got to do better than that one. I thought it was going to come out nicer. It's not. I'm not walking it back. So there we go. But then also, teens to do this and kids is crucial, that if they are in Christ, then this is a prime opportunity. I mean, I always told people, I can bring pizza to a school, but at some point I'm the creepy dude bringing food to a school. They go every day, all the time, and have more opportunities than I'm able to muster up. And I think that training them to do that instead of needing to have game nights, that I have found as a youth pastor, please back me up on this, those game nights do not work from a spiritual or statistical or attendance base. It creates spikes, but zero retention. Because if I say, hey, tonight's game night, but next week we're preaching, they ain't coming back for that. Like, who wants to read through the Bible? You know,
especially if it's like, hey, come for dodgeball and pizza, and then
a bait and switch them.
Also, persecution is our desire.
Right. Right. I'm going to bait and switch a kid into the kingdom of Christ. Like, hey, do you want pizza? And then just like switch it out. Commit to Christ, like fully committed.
The ones who
took it. I got you. Snuck you into heaven.
The ones who win dodgeball are the ones who get hit in the face.
Right.
This is kind of like our text today.
Right.
I mean, it's just, it's wild. And this, you're right. It is so frustrating. This is kind of the norm and the standard. And honestly, the expectation for youth pastors is make sure that you get enough kids to youth group. Well, then if that's the standard of success, if the standard of success is get the kids to youth group and get the boxes checked that I got saved, then your whole ministry becomes let me go get non-Christian kids. How am I going to get them? I'm going to play music that they like. We're going to do non-Christian things. A non-Christian kid will never overtly love a Christian thing. Right? Like it just won't. The gospel is offensive. And the sooner we own that, the better. I heard an analogy the other day. There was a guy in prison who got saved in prison, and he kept telling himself, okay, after I get out, I am going to come back to this prison and do prison ministry. After I get out, I'm going to do prison ministry. I'm going to do prison ministry. I'm going to do prison ministry. And then he said, and one day the Lord just told me, you're waiting for your next meal in the middle of a garden. Like,
you're already in prison.
Why are you waiting to get out so you can come back in? And I think of high schoolers like that, right? Like they go every day to this mission field. And we spend all of our time in the church telling them, when you grow up, you might be able to, if you are really, really special, you might be able to be a youth pastor and then go to that school and talk to those kids about Jesus.
Spend training and then spend all your time trying to sneak back in.
Exactly.
You're already in.
Exactly.
You're already in.
Why don't you avoid those bad kids while you're going to school so that you don't become a bad kid? And then when you graduate, you'll be worth something. And we just totally discount our believing teenagers. And you know what happens to a believing teenager who is discounted for years?
Drop out.
Statistic. They are a statistic. And they will never participate in the ministry that God called them to, that they were so excited about when they were 14, but that was just jammed in the trash can. And they said, wait until you're worth something. Wait until you can become an adult, and then you can actually do the Great Commission. So, I don't know. I don't know anything more irritating in
don't do it now.
ministry.
Do it later when it's harder.
Like,
what?
Do it later when it's harder, when you're less passionate, when you're more cynical, when you have less of an opportunity. Do it later after
we've stolen all the joy from your faith. Let us beat that out of you first, and then here, read these dumb books, and then we'll come back. So now I know that you started a 501c3 nonprofit called Student Gospel Outreach. So it's a little close to Gospel Outpost, and not trying to like accuse anything, but
I mean, I've got a really cool. I mean, it's Student Go. That's kind of cool, though, right?
I mean, no, that's fine. I don't go by Go ever. That's okay.
Okay, that's good.
No, it's fine. Totally
you're welcome to become a subsidiary of Student Gospel Outreach.
Yours is more specific.
Yeah, you're right.
This is a subset. No, but a Student Gospel, SGO, as it's called around here.
Called around my office.
Yeah, around your office. Tell me about it then. I mean, what is the purpose of it? Because there's this clear passion to integrate the breathing in and breathing out, but in students doing that instead of, some older creepy guy with a mustache named Todd.
Okay, sorry, Todd.
Sorry. If you're a Todd and listen to the show, I'm not walking that one back either. Yeah,
seriously, they're not.
Shave it.
Cool.
It's 2020.
All right, so Student Go, it's a passion that was born kind of in my wife and myself after years of student ministry. And after seeing this idea play out and being in the trenches of just get them there, just get them saved. Just get them there, just get them saved. Thinking that isn't it. So Student Go, our mission is to challenge, equip, and send students to bring the gospel to their peers. Okay. And we function mainly as a partner to student ministries. We are a separate ministry, a 501c3 organization. No church owns Student Go.
Cool.
So we can walk into a church and say, hey, you, youth pastor, I know that you're being asked to do all of these things. Wouldn't it be great if someone could come in alongside you and in the context of your ministry, help to challenge your believing students, to challenge them in the Great Commission, to equip them with the things that they need and to be sent to their peers who don't know the Lord.
Right.
I call it the gospel gap, to fill the gospel gap. The gospel gap is, and someone's probably coined it before, but
TM.
TM.
It's right next to Bernie Planters.
The gospel gap is asking a student who in your life doesn't know Christ.
Yeah.
They'll say Tommy, Jimmy, Jane, Todd, and they'll name off these kids. And then you'll say, they don't know the Lord. Do you want them to know the Lord? Yes. Okay, what's it going to take, right? What is that gospel gap? What is the gap from I know they don't know Christ to I am sharing the gospel with them? What is that middle section? What are you missing?
Right.
Is it a passion? Is it some of the tools necessary? What is that? And so we come alongside students in student ministries who are ready to go. And we come alongside and we kind of create a culture of sending in these youth groups. And we try to get away from the dodgeball. And not that those things are bad. They're not.
Dodgeball's great. I do love dodgeball as much as I
But
dunked
if that
on it,
becomes the vehicle by which you do student ministry, I mean, imagine this. Imagine 10 students from a high school group who are equipped and sent out into their peers. And each one of those 10 students gets 5 of their peers and shares the gospel.
Right.
And 2 of each of those 5 care at all. 3 of them just totally blow them off. They make fun of them, whatever. So now each of those 5 is bringing 2 and saying, hey, now that you have heard the gospel, that you've maybe even professed faith in Christ outside of the walls of the church, I know where you can go. I know where you can go to be trained up in your faith, to go and get the spiritual milk at first and then the spiritual meat so that they can send you too.
Right.
And that is so much better of an organic, natural church student ministry growth strategy, because it not only equips your students to be the ones who are gospel warriors, to be evangelists, to be disciplers, but it's bringing kids into your student ministry that you didn't have to twist their arm.
Yeah.
The thing that's bringing them is the word of God.
Right.
I know where you can go to get more of this.
Right.
Come to my youth group.
It's intentional and organic, because I think a good amount of people have taken organic as a Christian buzz term, and just exchanged it in place of passive.
Right.
And organic actually isn't passive. It's just these are the connections that are there. They're going to those or they're taking the opportunities God has given them, and in active, they are expressing gospel to them and then bringing them back to the body of Christ to grow together.
It's a natural way to do it, right? It's like if you're gonna do surgery on someone and they've lost an arm, right? Like you're not gonna put something that doesn't belong. Like you're not gonna force something on there. You're gonna find a compatible thing. It's gonna be natural.
And also, I'm not going to. I'll just, I'm sure they'll organically heal themselves, which is how I've heard that term misapplied. Like
it'll just grow back.
Organically, they'll be fine. No, there's intentionality and activity, but also organicity.
So our goal
really wanted that to end in
organicity,
and it didn't. And I darn it.
Organivity. So our goal with Student Go is to go to a church and just say, hey, for the next 6 months, our team is going to come in and we are just going to love on you. We're going to supplement what you're already doing. We're going to train up people in your own student ministry. We're not saying we know better. We're just saying let us be a helping hand in training up your local church members to keep this culture going in your own church. And then we're going to move out and we're going to go somewhere else where the need is. And that is our passion. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to studentgo.org. It's got all of our information on there. It's got how you can help us, how you can pray for us, how you can donate to us.
Yes,
all
a donate button.
It's got a donate button. You can click the donate button to donate to Student Go.
He's being kind. I'll say it. Donate to Student Go. Like, you should definitely do that.
Please.
So they're a great group. I believe in them a ton, and that they're going out and getting after the problem in a ministry that is there and just no one's really sure how to address. So,
and I have had 5 conversations with 5 youth pastors in our area. And 5 out of 5 youth pastors said,
I'm tired of buying Papa John's.
Please help.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't know what I'm doing. Please help. It's, I don't have the energy or the time to make this a commitment and a priority in my student ministry, please come. 5 out of 5. I thought that youth pastor ego would be the biggest hurdle. And they're like, oh, please come help. I mean, like lining up to receive the services that we provide. And we're just trying to get off the ground so that we can go out and do this for them. And I kept trying to think as we were creating this, as a youth pastor myself, what would I want? What do I need? Like in a perfect world, if I could just have some magical person just like swing in here and just be like, I'm free. What do you need? You know, like, and that's kind of how we created it, so we can be a real benefit to churches. But that does come back to the donate button. Which you can press on the website, studentgo.org.
Press it a lot.
Well, you really just need to press it once.
I don't know how these buttons work. They're crazy. I'm just sitting there clicking on it. Apparently, I haven't donated yet. Just clicking. I actually haven't, and I've been meaning to, and I just keep forgetting. But I will do that today.
It's not uncomfortable.
No, but I've been meaning to.
It's fine.
I don't have a system of Post-it notes yet, and as soon as I get that, we will get that. So I will do that today. But if anybody else is interested in checking them out, they can go to studentgo.org. Excellent.
SGO.org will take you to something like Southern Gynecological Oncology. And I mean, if that's a passion of yours, that's cool, but definitely not the business that we are in.
So studentgo.org. Oof.
Big oof.
Big oof.
And I couldn't buy it from them, so.
Yeah.
Because Daniel hasn't hit the donate button.
Yeah, well, whatever we say next is inappropriate, so we're going to pass. So, no, thank you for coming in and telling us about that. I do appreciate it. And if anyone has any questions that they're interested in asking him, you can contact him through his website because he's just guesting on us today. But if you have questions for me or Caleb, who I think is, he's fine. The Bears, they let him go. They traded for fish. So if anyone has any questions for Caleb or I, please go to thegospeloutpost.com/nobodyspecial. Fill out the question at the bottom of the page. You can also find us on Instagram at Nobody Special Podcast. And same thing at Facebook, Nobody Special Podcast. And absolutely. What was the other one? YouTube. Well, the Gospel Outpost is on YouTube. We're going to be putting more energy into that, a few other things. So be sure you hit the subscribe button and gently tap the bell, because I'm not allowed to say smash the bell because that's something that Jake Paul says.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say clang the bell.
Clang the bell?
It's
Ding
more,
the bell?
I mean, it's like a metaphorical bell. You don't actually clang it on the website.
Click the bell.
Okay. That's kind of weak. But
yeah, I know. And share it because Caleb and I are cheap. We don't spend any money on advertising because... Huh?
What?
Fine. Hold on. Donate to Student Go. Siri, do that.
Does that work?
I'm not sure I understand.
No, it doesn't.
Siri's not a Christian.
Okay.
So, I mean, what can we expect?
Siri, has anyone told you about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
I'm not sure I understand.
I know. We'll work on Siri.
The message
as well.
of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. Corinthians, right? Siri girl.
We cannot. That's gonna be like a bonus episode where we try and evangelize Siri until we get somewhere, and then she's like, "I'm ready to make that commitment." And
Siri
and Cortana chimes in like, "I see that hand." You know,
oh my gosh.
Like, you got us. There we go. So anyway, well, Andrew, thank you for coming on the show today. I've had a blast. This is a lot of fun. So we'll probably have you on another time as well. And if you enjoyed it, be sure you tell your friends because, as I said, we don't advertise and word of mouth is important to us. So that's going to do it for us today. He's Andrew. I'm Danny, and we are Nobody Special.
Nobody special.
Nobody's.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Nobody special.